We're now joined by military analyst, retired Air Vice Marshal Sean Bell. And Sean, just tell us more about the latest on China's military drills around Taiwan.
They started first thing this morning. These military drills that look pretty extensive. They've involved at least 8 warships. As you said, a whole mass of the PLA aircraft, including fast jets. And the key is that at least 71 incursions of this Taiwan Straits median line that runs down the border between. It's not unusual, in fact, for Chinese aircraft to go across that. But all of this activity, which is actually going on all the way around Taiwan, seems to be a response to the Taiwan President Tsai, who visited the US, speak to the House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on Wednesday last week. Clearly, China is unhappy with that. It's very similar to what happens if you remember Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan back in August last year. It would be worth saying, though, that this reaction by China seems a little more muted this time round than it was then, almost certainly because Nancy Pelosi was actually on Taiwan, whereas this visit was actually back in the US.
So I guess the key question here is, why are these military drills then being conducted?
The China Civil War, at the end of that, 1949, the losing government fled across to Taiwan. So the Republic of China government was locked in exile out there. Meanwhile, back in mainland China, the Chinese Communist Party prevailed. Now, as the years roll by in the 1970s, most nations gradually switched their recognition of the Taiwan-based Chinese government across to mainland China. As a result, and now there's only 13 countries in the world that recognise Taiwan's independence, and they're things like the Vatican, St. Lucia and Haiti, so it gives you an impression of who's there. Now, China wants to reintegrate Taiwan. China has actually released video footage today of lots of their military drills, but actually, publicly, they've been very committed to try to reunify in a peaceful manner. Why is the nation important? Well, a lot of it's about sea control, it's about the oceans around China and Taiwan, but it's also worth pointing out that the South China Sea, which is most of the southern border of China, is actually fairly shallow. It's only 30 metres deep. That's fine for ships. It's no good for nuclear submarines. Whereas if you can go across to Taiwan, that sits on the continental shelf, and if China was to launch its nuclear submarines from there, it would be drop into the deep oceans straight out of port from Taiwan.
And Sean, lots of people will be looking to the future and saying, well, what comes next then in these relations?
Taiwan's been investing a lot in its own military capability, as we can see from some of the video footage that the Taiwan Defence Ministry has released. But the harsh reality is they're only 10% of the size of China, and most military analysts, if China wanted to take Taiwan, within about 3 months it would be able to do that, even though it would be a difficult operation. Now, the US, it's worth noting, they also don't recognise Taiwan's independence, but they have a lot of vested interest in this region, particularly from the Pacific all the way through to the South China Sea. Now, the US would not be able to stop China from taking Taiwan, but their presence in the region is there to deter. And a good example of that is the US base at Okinawa here. They have 32 different military establishments there, 26,000 military troops. It's a really big presence. So any heightened tensions around Taiwan will have strategic consequences.
Sean, thank you very much indeed. It's Sean Bell there.